Hello, guys, and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen, the channel that brings you your team every single day, the channel that brings you all the latest goings on from Ibrox. And if you want to make sure you never miss out on all the latest content, there is only one way to make sure you do that, and that's to hit the sub. If you ring the notification bell, set it to all, you will never miss out on all of the free, yes, that's right, free in this day and age where everything costs you a fortune. This is free. Keep on top of your team. Myself and Victoria believe that you should be able to access content on your team for nothing. Well, we've got an awful lot to get through this morning, or even this afternoon, or maybe even this evening, depending on obviously when you are watching this video. Just a bit of a heads up there, we have got a live podcast this evening, as in this evening, Tuesday, the 8th of August at 7:30. Myself and Jack from Every Other Saturday podcast will be previewing the Rangers v Servette third qualifying round game and looking ahead a little bit as well, and looking back as well, getting Jack's views on the latest goings on at the club. Be good to have Jack back on the pod. He has been on previously. Be great to talk all things Rangers with him tonight. 7:30, come and join us. Well, where do we start? We've got a lot to get through in this video. Let's get started straight away. Let's talk about the big news that came out of yesterday, and that was the official, that's right, departure of Fashion Sakala from Rangers. Now, Rangers have not officially announced it on their Twitter at time of recording or on their website at time of recording. However, Fashion Sakala has announced it on his Instagram and his Twitter about his departure from the club. This is what Fashion tweeted out. He said that, "God bless, thank you Rangers Football Club, FS at 10 dreams don't die, read Psalm 106:1. As we know, Christianity is a big part of Fashion's life." He went on to say, "Rangers fans, I love you all. My family is very grateful for your support and we really appreciate." Along with that, on a Rangers headed note paper, quite where that's actually come from the club, I don't know, but there is a statement there from Fashion Sakala himself. Fashion Sakala leaving with a heavy heart, it seems. But the thing is, in the statement, and obviously on Twitter and also across the internet, there is no actual confirmed location for Fashion's departure other than to a Saudi Arabian club. Fashion, who divided fans whilst he was here, certainly had decent numbers. Stats-wise, you just look at his pure stats, he looked a very, very good player. However, we do know that he had obviously his weaknesses, lacking composure at times, and obviously those two sitters he missed in the Viaplay Cup final and obviously the Scottish Cup semi-final. Fashion Sakala said that it was a heavy heart, yet a spirit of gratitude that he would leave Rangers. No confirmation yet on the fee, although it is thought to be £4 million. This is what he said in his statement. He said, "Today marks the end of an unforgettable chapter in my life. I bid farewell to this esteemed club. When I first joined Rangers, I could have never imagined the profound impact this club and its community would have on my life." He goes on to say thank the entire management staff and the club's fans, adding that he will always be a Ranger at heart. That's kind of a summary of the statement he makes. If you want to actually, read the whole statement, then go and check out his Twitter. Read through his whole statement there that he has written. Lovely words that Fashion puts across and really shows his gratitude to us, the fans, and to the club for all that he has achieved during his time with Rangers. Obviously, an exciting few years. Fashion came here from Ostend, didn't he, for absolutely nothing, and he moves on for that profit of £4 million. That is the reported fee. Like I said, there is as yet no kind of confirmed location for him to move to, which seems very, very strange indeed. In terms of a club that he is actually joining. Fashion Sakala made 91 appearances for Rangers in all competitions, scoring 24 goals during that time. 2 whole seasons here at the club. A pretty decent record that Fashion had for us whilst he was with us. Like I said, it's difficult, obviously, not to rewrite history when you remember players, but there obviously are the bad side of Fashion and there is the good side of Fashion. And I think as fans, it's our duty now to remember the good side of what he did for the club and wish him all the very best in the future. Okay, let's move it along a little bit and talk about our next story that we want to talk about, which obviously is the Champions League. Rangers have the Champions League game upcoming on Wednesday against Servette at home. Now, the Champions League draw for the qualifying round took place today in Nyon in Switzerland. And as always, UEFA took a 5-minute situation and made it last half an hour by talking utter rubbish and showing a pointless video that was very confusing for about 5 minutes as well. And then having a whole host of draws and random shots of random people in the audience and hardly anyone there actually. So it was not very interesting really. The only interesting bit was obviously who Rangers would play if, that is the big if, they are successful against Servette. More of that in a moment. Well, apparently if Rangers are to progress to the group stage, obviously if they beat Servette, so many ifs, so many buts, they would have to overcome PSV Eindhoven or SK Sturm Graz of Austria. Obviously, PSV and Sturm Graz play in their playoff, their third quali round, and whoever wins that will face the winners of either Rangers or Servette. Their tie also takes place tomorrow night, same as Rangers at 7:30. The first game being at the Philips Stadion in Eindhoven. Now, one other slight aside and slight interesting aside, if Rangers were to be successful and were to progress to the quali round against PSV Eindhoven, is the news that they may face former player Malik Tillman. According to reports emerging from Germany tonight, well, Germany yet not tonight, I suppose, Germany yesterday, Malik Tillman is on the verge of signing for PSV Eindhoven for between 12 and 14 million. Now, those of you obviously who have a good memory will remember that part of the compensation package that was agreed between Bayern and Rangers for Bayern breaking the loan agreement terms was that Rangers got £1 million and also 10% of any future sell-on for Tillman, which, as we know, would represent either 1.2 to 1.4 million pounds for a player that obviously we did have a part in developing and improving. But it's would be very useful cash coming into the club. 1.2 for 1.4 for a player we don't even own would be excellent business, giving a total of anything between 2.2 and 2.4 million for Tillman, which is all useful funds that will go into hopefully strengthening the club squad and obviously building on what we have at this moment in time and trying to take that on to the next level. But Rangers do need to overcome Servette of Switzerland, which will not be an easy game. Servette are a very direct team, a physical team, a team who I think will set up very similar to Killy in terms of the fact they will sit back and they will try and hit on the break and they will try and frustrate Rangers as much as possible. Reminder, we do have that preview tomorrow night on the live pod at 7:30. Come and join in the conversation. Now, look, there's been an awful lot of discussion about what team should be played, how we should play this game, how we should approach this game. For me, there is only one way that we approach this game. Now, what kind of got to me on Saturday was the fact that Michael Beale had talked about a new Rangers. He talked about a Rangers playing with the handbrake off, a Rangers playing with a new verve and style, a Rangers going after teams. But to me, it seemed on Saturday that we planned too much for Kilmarnock, that we worried too much about them and didn't actually impose our style, our way of playing on them. And we didn't play with the handbrake on. In fact, we had both handbrakes on and our foot on the brake throughout the entire game. And that's something that needs to come off tomorrow night. If this club was to progress to the group stages of the Champions League, this would be not only a fantastic achievement to be back in the group stages, back at the Europe's top table, where you face Europe's top teams, where Rangers belongs. But it would also bring prestige, but not just prestige, a lot of money. Rangers in the group stage would earn £25 million basic. That is on top of the 5 million you would get for winning this round, which would represent £30 million. Now, £30 million would be extremely useful to the club in terms of going on for further team strengthening, building on this squad that we already have. That is why, for me, it becomes even more vital to qualify for this group stage. Yes, it will be tough. And if we play anything like we did on Saturday against Kilmarnock, even Servette will take us to the cleaners, because this level is a level up from anything you face in Scotland. the European teams are on the whole unknown to us because we don't play them week in, week out, and also have a greater strength at times. Realistically, if Rangers put out their strongest possible team, if they play to their true potential, they should be able to overcome Servette. The big test could come in the next round if it was, say, to be PSV Eindhoven that we faced, a strong team in the Dutch Eredivisie. But this is, I think, so important to progress the Champions League. That money is fundamentally huge. 30 million pounds if you go through this round and into the group stages is an astronomical amount of money. I think it's worth remembering in the season we went all the way to the Europa League final, we earned 18 million pounds. So you can see the substantial difference between Europa League money and Champions League money. It is fundamentally different. I, for one, would much rather play in the Champions League. Especially with the position we are now in, where we are 3 points behind Celtic, you do not want to be playing catch up through the rest of the season, where you are playing a Thursday, Sunday. You are constantly having a situation where they will probably play first, as they are in the Champions League group stages. We'll play a Tuesday, Wednesday, we'll play a Saturday, and we play the Sunday. You are playing constant catch up, something I do not want to have to do throughout the season. Now, personally, I've been thinking about what sort of team I would put out there if I was the Rangers coach. And you may look at this team that I'm about to discuss with you and say, Owen, I'm glad you're not the Rangers manager. I'm glad you're not picking the team tomorrow. Let's trust Michael Beale instead to get it right. But he didn't on Saturday, did he? The starting lineup was pretty poor. Now, I fully expect John Lundstrom to play tomorrow. So on Wednesday, it would be horrific. If he does, because he contributes absolutely nothing to this team. He is an absolute waste of a jersey. He's an empty jersey. You'd be better off playing a game with 10 men rather than playing with John Lundstrom, in my opinion. Now, obviously, I think the goalkeeper picks himself. Jack Butland, I thought, was very, very good on Saturday. Solid. I thought he cleaned up very well. He swept very well. He put up a couple of good saves. He commanded his box well. He led well. He looked a good leader at the back. He communicated well with his defence. I think he was by far one of the best players on the park on Saturday. So respect to Jack Butland for what he did. Now, the back four, I think, should be Tav, Goldson, Suter, and Sterling. I don't think Goldson's 100% fit, but unfortunately, what else do we have? You've got Leon King, who probably isn't either 100% fit. Leon Balogun, who isn't actually 100% fit. Davis, who apparently is still injured. We're pretty much what we have at the back is what we have. Sterling, I would play over Barisic if Ridvan is injured. If Ridvan is fit, I would start Ridvan at left back. But if he's not, and it's between Barisic and Sterling, I would play Sterling. I just don't rate Borna Barisic. I think he's an awful player. I think he's gone past his best. I think he needs to be sold. Just wouldn't play him. Suter and Goldson, that is our best centre-half partnership we have with the club. That is the best we've got at this moment in time. Unless we go and buy another centre-back in the rest of this transfer window, they are the strongest two centre-backs we have, John Suter in particular. James Tavernier, look, this is a debate. Tavernier was rank on Saturday, and he's been rank through pre-season. His defensive skills seem to be getting worse. However, I don't know about you guys, but for me, he just seems undroppable, untouchable. And I don't think any manager has the nerve to be able to drop James Tavernier. I think no matter what he does, no matter how bad it gets, he will never be dropped. The only way I think Tav will ever stop being the Rangers captain or stop playing at right back is when James Tavernier decides that he doesn't want to be the right back or the captain anymore. And that's sad. That is sad. Personally, I would drop him. I'd play Sterling at left back and hope Ridvan's fit. I think Sterling's a natural defender. He provides a much solid defensive shape. He would help our defence be a lot more solid. That's one thing that has been sadly lacking over pre-season. Defence has been very poor. And I think Dujon Sterling could help to solidify things at the back. For all Borna Barisic's abilities that he allegedly has, he's even got worse at going forward and crossing the ball into the box. So, look, personally, don't think he should play. I would start Ridvan if he's fit, but if not, start Sterling. He's a better player for me. Now, midfield, I'd start with a 3. Ryan Jack would sit at the base of that 3 to protect the back 4, and I would therefore give Cifuentes and Raskin a license to get forward. Now, Raskin can hold, I get that, but Raskin as well is not just a holding midfielder. He can also play as an 8. He can also bomb on, he can attack, he can thrust into the box, he can provide a killer pass. He was the one player on Saturday that provided any sort of go forward or any sort of impetus to try and attack. He was the one outfield player that got a pass mark on Saturday. So for me, Raskin has to start. Ryan Jack, I think everyone looks better when Ryan Jack's in the team. He gives the midfielders he plays with confidence. He shields that back four, makes them more sturdy. He fills in for fullbacks when they bomb on. He just is the all-round player. And I think, we've got to pick and choose Ryan Jack's games. I don't think he would start on Saturday against Livy, but I do think we play him in the Champions League because he is that vital, I think, to our team. I would chuck Fuentes in. I know he's only just come over. I know he hasn't had a great time to gel with his teammates, but this lad is a box to box. He gets forward. One thing we were missing on Saturday was a bit of urgency, a bit of go forward. Like I said, Raskin was the only person that did that. Cifuentes, I feel, would give us that urgency and that go forward. So that'll be my midfield three. But don't worry, I haven't forgot about Scotland's best player. I know he's English, but Todd Cantwell. I would play Todd Cantwell in the 10 role. I'd give him freedom to go where he wants to influence the game. I know Sam Lammers can do that, but for me, you've got to put Cantwell in that position. You've got to give Cantwell the freedom to go and express himself, to control the game, to run where he wants, to pass the ball, to take charge of the game. We saw last season, didn't we? The Old Firm game, for example, the Hibs game. We saw Todd Cantwell take ownership, take control of games and be the best player on the park. For me, that's what we've got to do. Give him that license to go where he wants and roam where he wants. And if it is that the rumours that are going around about him falling out with Beale needs to get over himself and play Cantwell. Cantwell is his best hope at keeping hold of his job long term. He is the best player at the club. And for me, Cantwell has to play. Now, I'd play him in behind a front two of Sam Lammers and Danilo Pereira. Dessers, I don't think plays for me. The reason I think he will play, don't get me wrong, but for me, he wouldn't play. He's not fit. He's 2 to 3 weeks away from being fit. He doesn't look sharp. And we cannot afford to carry passengers in this Champions League tie. You cannot play European Champions League football with passengers in your team. And he's a passenger at the moment. Danilo is banging form. He was smashing goals in for Feyenoord in pre-season. He is match fit. He is sharp. He is fit. He is game ready. For me, we have to put him out there, give him license, let him go and play, and let him be the Danilo Pereira that we hope he is, the hope that we paid the money for. And Sam Lammers, I would put up alongside him, as I just think he looks fitter and better than Dessers. Well, that's my starting 11. I wouldn't even have Borna or John Lundstrom on the bench. I'd have them back at home on their settees watching the game on TV. That's the safest place for John Lundstrom on a match day. For me, the guy is an absolute joke. Right, so let me know in the comments below, how would you line up today? How would you line up on Wednesday against Servette? What would be your system and how would you play the game? I'd also keep Seamer on the bench to come on and play as an impact player. And if we need a plan B, if we do need to get some natural width, Seamer, put him on the right wing. The guy's a winger. He's not a centre forward. I think part of why we're not seeing the best of him is he's being misused. We're asking a player who's used to playing out wide right to play through the middle. That's not his natural game, and that's not how you're going to get the best out of him. And for me, it's a mistake, a tactical error by Michael Beale. Okay, now one player who has left Rangers this summer, not permanently, but on loan, is Alex Lowry. Now, Alex Lowry has gone, as we know, to Hearts. And it seems strange, doesn't it, seeing him in that maroon or that burgundy, whatever you want to call it, jersey. However, reporters and critics alike have been fawning over Lowry's impact that he had coming off the bench for Hearts on Saturday. He created their second goal. He was very influential in some of their best moves once he came off the bench, and he looked very, very good indeed. It really does not upset. I don't think that's the right word, but it does concern me how this lad never got an opportunity to impress for Rangers in recent times. Personally, I would have kept hold of Lowry. I think he's a creative talent. I think he's someone who could have had an impact. And you look at, like I said, you look at what he did when he came on for Hearts in a poorer team. That's the thing. Hearts are a poorer team. They're not as strong as us. They haven't got as good a players as us. Yes, they've got someone like Lawrence Shankland, who is very good. I get that. But look, they've got nothing in comparison to what Rangers have got. They haven't got a Cantwell, a Cifuentes, they haven't got a Butland, they haven't got a Raskin. They haven't got those players, but he looked great and he did very well on Saturday. And for me, it's one we've missed out on. I would have kept hold of him. There's other players I would have rather have moved on this summer than actually moving Lowry. I know he's only on loan. I know he can return to the club next summer, but Great start by Alex Lowry, and I think just showing us what we all know, that he had the ability to step up from under 21 to B team to full team and play exceptionally well. And it's sad that he's doing it for another club and not for Rangers. Well, guys, we are obviously coming to the end of this morning, this afternoon, this evening's video. I'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts on any of the stories we have commented on or talked about this morning. One thing is sure, it'll be very interesting when this man speaks to the media today. Michael Beale will give his pre-match press conference ahead of the Servette game. You know, Michael Beale is someone who talks a lot. And for me, at times, he talks too much and he says too much. I would love James Bisgrove to get hold of him and get him to have some media training to think about what he says, how he says it, and when he says it. And I think that there are times when Michael Beale says far too much to the media. What will be interesting to find out today are his thoughts once he's had time to really digest them over the Kilmarnock game, which I'm sure he will be asked about before in this Servette game. I also would love to know what his thoughts are about certain players and how they've played. In addition to that, it'd be useful to get a fitness update on the likes of Ridvan, for example, to see where he is in his recovery. Very interesting indeed. Obviously, we only have those players who are in the European squad to choose from. You cannot bring in the likes of Kemar Roof or Davis or any of those players because they are not in the European squad. Just a reminder on our European squad, Butland, McCrory and Wright are our goalkeepers. Our defenders are James Tavernier, Ridvan Yilmaz, John Suter, Connor Goldston, Dujon Sterling, Leon Balogun and Borna Barisic. Our midfielders are John Lundstrom, Yanis Hadji, Ryan Jack, Jose Cifuentes, Kieran Dowell, and Nicholas Raskin. And our forwards are Cyril Dessers, Todd Canwell, Sam Lammers, Abdallah Seema, Scott Wright, and Danilo Pereira. They are the players we can choose from. So it'll be very interesting to get Michael Beale's thoughts on that. To see if he talks about the system, see if what he gives us his impressions of Servette. So that will come up today. We'll obviously bring you an update on that in tomorrow morning's video, and also talk about it a little bit in the preview pod that is 7:30 on Tuesday night. That's tonight. Come and join us for that with myself and Jack from every other Saturday podcast. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching the video this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, whenever you've picked it up. And as always, there's two things I always need you to do for me. Number one, smash that like. And number two, remember always, we are the people.